Welcome back to Movies TV Mad and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So Batwoman Season 3 make a multiverse casting and expect to see more of this from TV engineers and different versions of the multiverse in DC movies and TV casting. So basically, let's get the details. Batwoman Season 3, Gotham's Victoria Cartagena returns to play Renee Montoya. Victoria Cartagena will return to the role of Renee Montoya in Batwoman Season 3, but will be a different version of the character than on Gotham by Richard Dink of Screen Rant. Renee Montoya has been cast for Batwoman Season 3, and it is a face that should be familiar. First introduced in Batman the Animated Series, Montoya became part of the DC Comics canon. A love interest for Kate Kane's Batwoman and the newest incarnation of the Question. Earlier in the month, it was reported that Batwoman was looking to cast Renee Montoya to join the upcoming season. And they found a pick in an actress who has a history with the role, Gotham's Victoria Cartagena. Cartagena played the role for Renee Montoya on the hit series Gotham. She only appeared in one season of the series, but was established as a former girlfriend of Gordon's wife, Barbara. Since leaving Gotham, Cartagena has been featured on a number of series, including Jessica Jones, and a recurring role on the now cancelled NBC series Manifest. She most recently was one of the stars of the short-lived Fox drama Almost Family, which was cancelled after one season. Jesus Christ, Cartagena doesn't have a great record with surviving shows, has she? Cartagena will now be returning to the streets of Gotham, just on a different network and universe. According to a report by Deadline, Cartagena will join the role of Renee Montoya in the upcoming season of Batwoman. It is noted that despite playing the same role on Gotham, this will be a different incarnation of the character with no relation to the version seen on Gotham. Cartagena's Montoya is described as a former GCPD officer who left the force when she could no longer stomach the corruption inside the department and now runs the Freaks division, which will see a more activity with the rise of supervillains hinted at in Batwoman Season 2 finale. Cartagena joining the cast of the Arrowverse continues a DC television tradition of honouring the legacy of adaptations these characters have. John Wesley Shipp, who played Barry Allen in the 90s The Flash series, has gone to play Henry Allen, Jay Garrick, and even reprises Barry Allen from the Earth 90 role on the CW series. The Flash Matt Ryan reprised his role on Constantine, which aired on NBC, into the CW series like Arrow and DC's Legends of Tomorrow, but it has never been specified how much of the Constantine series is canon, or if Ryan is just playing another Constantine. Brandon Routh played both Ray Palmer Atom and was given the chance to reprise his role as Superman from Superman Returns, inspired by Kingdom Come. With the arrival of Renee Montoya to Batwoman Season 3, the allies of the new Bat family begin to grow. Cartagena now is given the chance to explore a different take on the character from how she portrayed it on Gotham. This will give audiences a chance to see how the same actor approaches the same role, but in two vastly different series. Season 3 just recently started filming, so it may be a few months until the CW releases first image or clips of Cartagena as Renee Montoya in Batwoman. So yeah, let me explain this to you in layman terms so there's absolutely no confusion. Right, we are on the precipice of the multiverse strategy. You're going to see this a lot. You're going to see actors and actresses, right, playing characters maybe they played in other universes, but playing different versions of these characters. So Cartagena is playing Renee Montoya in Batwoman Season 3, but it's not the same version she played in Gotham, because Gotham is another part of the multiverse. It's on another Earth, right? That's how you've got to look at it. So it's actually logical that she's playing a character she played on another Earth. That means they're not the same character, they have the same name, and it's a different version of that character. And as I say, you're going to see this a lot with the multiverse strategy coming from the Flash movie and beyond. So, for example, I'm not saying this would happen, but Michael Rosenbaum could very easily play Lex Luthor in Matt Reeves' DC Earth 2. He wouldn't be playing the Smallville version, he would be playing another Earth, another version of Lex in the multiverse. So you're going to see this a lot. I don't want to hear from people, oh, this is confusing. It's not. This is very exciting. And I'm going to see this a lot. You're going to see this a lot. And I don't think it should need too much explaining. So this is actually a very exciting piece of casting. So basically, last night in America, Flash Season 7 aired its finale on the CW. And here's an article from Entertainment. The Flash boss discusses spoilers return and teases Season 8 special event episodes. Showrunner Eric Wallace also reveals which element of Season 7 was originally supposed to happen in Season 8, but got moved up because of the pandemic by Chancellor Agard of Entertainment. Warning, this article contains spoilers for the Season 7 finale of The Flash. By the way, that's for you as well. If you don't want to know, you need to go until you watch this, then come back and watch this until your heart's content. Carlos Valdes, Jessica Parker Kennedy and John Wesley Shipp weren't the only familiar faces who returned to The Flash for the season-ending battle against Godspeed. Original cast member Tom Cavanagh, who exited the CW superhero drama midway through Season 7, returned in Tuesday's finale as the character everyone loves to hate, Eobard Thawne, aka Reverse Flash. In the face of enormous threat Godspeed posed to Central City and the world, Barry Grant Gustin realised the only way to defeat him was to team up with the man who killed his mother. So the Speed Force reconstituted Thawne's body, and the evil speedster joined Barry in a lightning sword fight against Godspeed. The clash ended when Thawne stabbed the Golden Speedster. Of course, villains are gonna villain, and Thawne immediately turned on Barry, but he ended up speeding into the night when he realised Barry was finally faster than him. Thus, Barry and Iris Candice Patton were able to renew their vows in peace. Below, EW chats with showrunner Eric Wallace about the Season 7 finale, the structure of Season 8's 5-part special event, and more. Entertainment Weekly. Where did the idea to bring Reverse Flash back in this way come from? Eric Wallace. I had that idea for a year. It's just been in my pocket and I haven't been able to say a word, and I've been dying to tell everybody, laughs, like, just be patient. He's always going to be back because it was very important when we were establishing a new villain speedster in Godspeed to show how really dangerous Godspeed is. He's so dangerous that the Flash has to partner with his worst enemy to defeat this guy. I told Karen, he flipped. I told Tom way early. Tom's been hiding this for 9 months. It's really hilarious. Good for him for keeping the secret. I was reading the Flash comic series that Joshua Williamson is writing, which I love, and there was an image in one of the comic books of Godspeed holding up a lightning sword. I thought to myself, what if it wasn't one sword, but 3 swords, 3 speedsters, and they're all super fast? That would be amazing if we could pull that off. I think it was a year and a half ago before I even started to think about Season 7. Then when we started to put Season 7 together and I realised we would need Thawne's help to take down Godspeed, it literally was like synchronicity. You could hear the heavens open up. That's it. That's our lightning sword battle. Then I had to convince my director, my cast and crew that I was not insane and I could actually do this, and that we could all pull it off for television. I won't lie, it did push every department to the max, but everybody rose up. Stunts, John Crate did an amazing job with the choreography. Kate Main, our costume designer, had to come up with all these extra costumes. The actors had to learn the stuff the stunt performers were doing so they could mimic it. Paul Marcus Stokes, our director, who is just amazing and has been with us for many years, he and I were joking at one point, wow, we're really doing this, aren't we? We've passed the point of no return. All right, double down. And then we decided to make it bigger. Hopefully the end result is something that will be a very memorable sequence for years to come for Flash fans. In the past, you've said you had a multi-season plan when you took over as showrunner. Was Bart's Jordan Fisher introduction always a part of that? What made this the right time to bring that character in? Yeah, Bart has always been the plan. Although, ironically, we were originally going to introduce Bart in Season 8, not Season 7. Then COVID happened and we had a whole bunch of time to think about how to reshape the season. I realised, let's pull that up. That might be a good thing to do in the 150th episode, as opposed to waiting for season 8. Because to be honest with you, when we started to write all this stuff a year ago, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Would there be a season 8 at that point? So I also couldn't take the chance. I wanted to make sure at least Impulse got an appearance. Fortunately, we did get an 8th season. It's a funny story. I worked with Jordan about 4 or 5 years ago on Teen Wolf for a couple of episodes. He was a guest star for us. We were shooting werewolves and it was at 5 in the morning and we'd been shooting all night. The sun's rising, poor Jordan. It's in season 5 and he's got that gold werewolf blood in his mouth. And he's just smiling and he's giving this great performance. His energy is so positive. And I thought to myself, right there, this guy is just amazing. I have to work with this person again. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I keep a list of people who are all awesome people I want to work with again. So I put him right on that list. Cut to 4 years later, I'm thinking about Impulse and I immediately said, it can only be Jordan. He's my only choice. He's my number one. But there's no way we'll get him because he's famous now. So we kind of just moved away from him and auditioned a lot of wonderful people who were really amazing. Then I think it might have been Greg Berlanti or Sarah Schneider at Berlanti Productions just went, you know, we really should just check with Jordan just in case. We did, and to my pleasant surprise, he was into it. Next thing you know, Jordan was Impulse, and it was a dream come true for me. That's when I knew we'd made the right decision because it felt like synchronicity. It felt like something special was happening. Hopefully that came through in his 2 episodes. When he and Jessica Parker Kennedy are in some of their scenes together, it feels like they've been brother and sister for years. Do you have plans to bring Bart and Nora back next year? If I was a betting man, I would say you would definitely see Jordan and Jessica again next year. It's just a matter of when and how they return because they're just so fantastic. We just can't wait to have them back on the show. Was Iris gaining speed powers a one-time or more accurately a 2-time thing, or will she keep them going forward? No, Iris is not a speedster, fuck for that. This is a one-time thing. However, in the season 8 premiere, Iris has a whole new thing going on that's really exciting. She has so many exciting things to deal with next year in a non-speedster capacity, which is the journalist side of her, that we are so excited about. I won't go any further. This is something we've all been complaining about. We've been saying, why can't she be a journalist? Why can't she be this Lois Lane who's passionate about exposing criminals and fraudsters and people who want to do the world harm? She can be a hero, but use journalism as her superpower. They've tried this a couple of times and then they kind of forgotten about it. Let's hope they go fully double down on this time. Are you approaching season 8 as it might be the last one? You know, I get asked this question all the time, and it's weird because I honestly don't know whether it is or not. So I'm just treating it as let's tell the best season we can. It's something I tell the writers all the time. Tell every story every week as if this is the last Flash episode. We all get the privilege of telling. That's how we sort out our ideas by priority, because we have such a talented group of writers. We have so many ideas but we can't get them all in a season. But that's great because that allows us to prioritize. But all I can tell you, and this is totally honest, we will continue to do what we always do, which is approach every episode as how can we make this episode in this season the best one ever. I had the opportunity to speak to Cress Williams when Black Lightning... Oh no, hang on, is this still connected? I don't know, let's go. I had the opportunity to speak to Cress Williams and Black Lightning ended, and he mentioned that The Flash reached out to him about guest starring next season. Has there been any movement on that front? And is he one of the heroes that may be featured in the special 5 episodes at the beginning of season 8? There's so many guest stars that we want to bring over, and those will be announced later, so I don't want to drop any spoilers, but I will say the whole gambit is open. It's wide open. We are considering literally every character from every Arrowverse show to potentially come and play with us part of this 5-part special event. So who knows? Ask me that question in 3 months. 3 months, very interesting. So he could be at Fandom, which will be very exciting. Are you approaching this as a 5-part story, or is it 5 standalone episodes? This is an interesting question. It's a 5-part event. That's interesting because journalists have been saying something different. We're going to do what we always do, which is our graphic novel format. We will be telling a self-contained story. No spoilers there, but we're just doing... we're just going to up the ante. The idea behind this is to give the audience a big gift of a thank you for hanging with us through everything that we've been through together in the last couple of years, and now we've all been together as fellow Flash fans and part of the Flash family for 7 years. So this is a special event. It's designed to feel like a crossover, but not to be a crossover. Oh my God. Obviously we don't have the time and resources and all of that stuff, but we want to give you guys the same feeling you would get in bigger emotions, as Bigger Barry and Irish Story that has great risks to it, and as many guest stars as time and resources will allow. This is interesting because this is not a crossover, but it seems to me this is the best we're going to get next season in any of the Arrowverse shows, so this is very, very interesting. It seems to me they're going to throw as many people in as they can. This does concern me that he says it's a crossover, but it's not a crossover. I know, it's all on the Flash basically, so they're not doing... This is all based in the Flash's universe, so that's interesting. So it returns on Tuesday, November the 16th. So if you're a Flash fan, I've got some information there for you via that interview. Listen, it's been a challenging season for, I forgot his name, Eric Wallace, the showrunner of Flash. Look, Flash Season 7 has had many, many issues. Many fans have had issues, and they've been very, very upset. I think Eric Wallace did a pretty good job the season before. I think the issue here is definitely COVID. They came in after COVID to put this season together, and you can tell it was squeezed in, and they were just throwing in whatever they thought of first. He pretty much said that anyway. So I wouldn't judge Flash Season 7 too much, but it did have issues. I think with the finale, they did their best to give the audience and fans the best that they could. I am looking forward to the 5-episode crossover that's not a crossover. I just hope this is not just something that's being squeezed in just to say, oh look, we are doing a crossover, because I don't think there's going to be a proper crossover in Arrowverse next season either. I think COVID is still a thing, and they can't get people from one set to the other. But doing it on a season premiere means they can get people directly on the Flash set. Then they can self-isolate and do their own shows. I think this is why they're doing it this way. So it's still a very exciting event for the fans. Right, I paid 30 quid yesterday to re-watch Black Widow, to have my second viewing of Black Widow. And I really want to discuss this film, because as I was watching the first act, I was very hastily saying on Twitter, wow, I actually liked this film a lot more the second time around. The thing is, the first act is very, very good, because it shows us pre-Avengers, pre-everything. This is Natasha, and I forgot the sister's name, played by Florence Powell, but basically this is Florence and Natasha as kids. You know, you see the bond between them. You see this setup of these Russian agents pretending to be an American family. I think it's in Nevada, if I remember rightly. The action's great, the way they have to leave the house. I think David Harbour is fantastic. You know what? Rachel Weisz is somewhat of a crush of mine, and an actor I really have a lot of time for. But I tell you, I wasn't very impressed by her performance, but I thought David Harbour was sensational. I felt that David really had a great bond with Florence's character and Scarlett Johansson's character as well, whose name I've already forgotten. That's ridiculous. But should we just say Scarlett and Florence, because I literally just said who Scarlett's character was, and now I've got a blank and can't remember. Anyway, so let's just say Scarlett and Florence. So yeah, those three actors really had great chemistry. As we get to the midpoint of Act 2, this film falls away very, very quickly, and you start to wonder if someone cuts something out in editing a bit too much. Let me talk to you about the villain, played by Ray Winston, a brilliant former boxer turned actor. He's been acting for the past 30, 40 years. But I don't understand why they cast him as the villain of this movie. First of all, Ray can't do accents. Ray is not an actor. He can perform, but he's not an actor. So his Russian accent is terrible. He's a terrible villain. We only see him in the third act. And, you know, Natasha, that's her name. Natasha doesn't even get to kill him. He dies in an explosion. Sorry, spoiler alert, too late. So he's a stupid villain. Now, let's cross over to Taskmaster. I can understand what they were going with Taskmaster. I have no issue that Taskmaster's a female. Basically, it's Ray Winston's Russian gangster's daughter. Because the whole thing is, Natasha thinks she killed Winston's character. All she thought she did was kill Winston's daughter. But in fact, he made her into Taskmaster. It's an interesting arc, but the problem is the execution is so poor. I have no empathy for this character or what this character's gone through, which is a shame. So we got this kind of red dust that can bring back the widows from their trance. So listen, the opening of the movie is great, especially when they inject them with the serum to put them to sleep, because they're both kids. And you know, David Harbour is there and he can see this, and you know, it's just a job to them. But we find out later in the movie that in fact, David Harbour and Rachel Weisz's character do love these girls as daughters. So let's talk about Florence Pugh. I think, or is it Florence Pugh? Right, Florence Pugh. Take a pew, Florence, while I talk about you. I think she gives a magnificent performance. I think she's going to be a great new age Black Widow. I like the dynamic between her and Scarlet. It works to a point. Sometimes I feel they're trying to bag in that because I mean, I'm a bit confused at the beginning why they fight when they reunite. So obviously they knew each other as children, but then they were split up because they're not actually real sisters, because they're not a real family at all. But ultimately, there's some great moments between them. Obviously, the gag of the movie is Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff, when she always does that classic Black Widow pose as she's about to fight, when she poses like that. And there's a funny bit, and when Florence's character goes to take the piss and do it, and she goes, such a poser. So she's very, very good. In fact, I don't think Scarlett does the humour as well as Florence does. Scarlett does the drama. Scarlett's a dramatic actress and she does really well. And she will be well missed. I don't think it's the last time we'll see her, by the way, even though she said it was a good point to leave. We will see about that. You see, with the multiverse now in the MCU, you've got this situation where people can pop up from different Earths. So that's Tony Stark, any of these people, Captain America, but we don't know what happened to Steve Rogers as Captain America, old man Steve, because we didn't see him die. They were talking about the moon or something on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Florence Pugh's performance is really, really good, and this was a great setup for her character. I think I was a bit overcritical saying this was more her movie than Natasha's movie, because Natasha was the star of this show. Scarlett got first billing. There is a good film in there, but unfortunately most of the good film is only in the first act and the beginning of the second act. It quickly falls away. The actors were fantastic. The writing wasn't fantastic. The directing was inconsistent. Sometimes it was good. Kate Shortland got some good performances from actors sometimes, and sometimes she was found wanting. Clearly a very big Moonraker and James Bond fan, as we saw Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff watching Moonraker, which I thought that was a cool little cameo moment. And I love that Kate threw that in there. It's great to see a woman not slaughtering James Bond, but actually loving James Bond. That's great. But that, by the way, lots of women love James Bond. Let's not start that conversation. So on second viewing, I can understand why this film has dropped off so badly. There is no rewatchability, as I've already said. I enjoyed elements of it. It's too inconsistent. And one of the questions I want to ask you for today, and I'd love your comments down below, is this the future of the MCU? Middling movies that have just got no rewatchability about them. And with the Eternals coming, the Eternals is a very important movie that has to galvanise people. I personally think Shang-Chi and the Legends of the 8 Billion Rings, or whatever it's called, will be a more successful movie than Eternals. And now Eternals is tapping into really something huge in the Marvel Universe. We will have to give that film a chance. We really will. I am worried about that film, to be honest, but I also, because the only film that really excites anyone, including me, is Spider-Man No Way Home. And that's only because we're getting Tobey Maguire, Andy Garfield, you know, Doc Ock and things like that, and Green Goblin probably. You know, people are excited about that film for every reason but the MCU element. Excuse me, Everyone's excited for Spider-Man No Way Home, apart for the very reason they should be excited, the MCU element. That shows something in the failure of Kevin Feige to develop a great MCU Spider-Man. And so Sony have come in there with their Doc Martens and said, enough's fucking enough, we're going to do something about this. Our animated Spidey movie, Spideyverse movie, did really well with different versions of Spidey. We're going to do the same here, and we're going to open the potential and avenue to it. And yes, so definitely Black Widow does concern me, but I'd love to know what you think about that. Oh, Zack Snyder, you are such a conundrum. Listen to these stats from Netflix. Netflix says Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead grabbed one of its highest view counts ever, with 75 million member accounts worldwide tuning in with its first weeks of release. So for its first 4 weeks of release, people watched this movie. Now, I just want to delve into this article before I discuss this, because I do want to. Netflix gathered big audiences for Zack Snyder's movie Army of the Dead and the comic book series Sweet Tooth in the spring, according to the company's quarterly earnings report. The streamer says Army of the Dead grabbed one of its highest view counts ever, with 75 million members accounts worldwide turning into the zombie movie in the first 4 weeks of release. Netflix viewing metrics counts 2 minutes of viewing time of a series or movie. Let me repeat that again. Netflix viewing metric counts 2 minutes of viewing time of a series or movie, long enough to show the choice was intentional, as the streamer puts it as a view. Now, this is an issue. The raw viewing total for Army of the Dead ranks among the top 10 Netflix title sequence. The company switched to its 2-minute view standard in late 2019. The streamer reported, listen, let me tell you something. That is very impressive, those numbers. But what you're telling me, right, that if I watch 2 minutes of Netflix content, they count me as a viewer. They don't count if I've watched the entire series or the entire movie. That is not an accurate metric. I'm sorry. You can't tell people, oh, well, you've watched 2 minutes, 70 million of you watched 2 minutes of it or more within a space of 4 weeks, a month, and we're counting that? That's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, that is stupid and that is cheating. But at the end of the day, what I want to discuss really is that Zack Snyder is this conundrum. People, no matter what they say about him, want to watch his content. And it's very interesting for Netflix. And it's good for Netflix because this is what they want. This is what they want. They have got a big deal director, one of the most talked about directors, whether it's negatively or positively in the world, in the history of film, and they've got him now over at Netflix. By the way, they don't have him exclusively. And if anyone's worried about the restoration of the Snyder Cut, if that miracle should happen. But they do have him. He's doing Rebel Moon, which is very exciting, which was originally going to be a Star Wars story, which would have been great. So, you know, Zack Snyder gets to do his own Star Wars. So he is a conundrum. My opinion of Snyder is this, that he made 3 amazing DC films that really, if anyone at the studio had any sense at the time, they would have created an Elseworld and let Snyder do whatever he wants, and there wouldn't be these issues, and they could have had their central universe. Instead of things becoming ugly between the studio and Snyder now. So people want to watch Snyder. He is big business, but the problem is he is difficult to work with, and that's the problem. Not for Netflix, because they don't interfere. They let you do whatever you want. But a studio the size of Warner Brothers, Fox, you know, Disney are never going to let you do that. It's as simple as that. There's no way around that. And it's understandable. You know, people say that all WB care about is making money. Oh my God, a business want to make money? No shit, Sherlock. So Snyder is in the best place for what he wants to do. Do I think that the Snyderverse is getting restored anytime soon? I did feel the motion comic could help. Obviously the motion comic, I mean, wow. I mean, Lightcast have now shut up shop. I mean, I think they're being chased by legal avenues, because why would you shut down your YouTube channel? And this is what I always say. If you want to donate to charities, donate directly. Finally today I'm going to say this. I would love everyone who was going to donate to the motion comic to do something directly for themselves and for this charity. Instead of waiting for someone to start some charity event, I'm going to do an ice bucket challenge. It may be today, tomorrow, next week, whenever. I will do an ice bucket challenge, and I will give €100, because I'm in Cyprus and that's what we deal with, euros. I will donate €100 directly to suicide prevention. That's what I will do. And my advice to you would be to do the same. You don't need to give your money to anyone. The best thing, so there's no accusations of corruptness and fraud and theft, is to do it yourself and directly give the money to the charity. Then there's no misunderstandings, is there? So I will be doing my ice bucket challenge in the next couple of weeks, and I will donate €100 to suicide prevention after I've done it. If you want to do it, you do it. No, you don't give your money to me or anyone, an elite person who's got a YouTube channel. You directly donate it to suicide prevention or any charity you want to donate to. So I'll be looking forward to doing my ice bucket challenge in the next few weeks. I actually loved doing them when ALS were doing, that charity were doing them, and I would love to do one again because I think it's a great laugh, and if we can give €100 to a charity, that's great as well. Helping people, you know, less fortunate than ourselves is very, very important. Last night before I went to bed, I was thinking about the homeless. We get outraged by so many things on the internet. Movies, the directions of movies, movies not happening, TV shows being cancelled, characters doing this instead of that. When every night human beings lay on a cold concrete floor, and maybe we should think about people less fortunate than ourselves a lot more. This has been the Movies TV Mad Daily. I will see you in the next video. Follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and wives. I will see you again soon.